like I'll be able to see people's questions, but I have some already.
Okay.
All right, so looks like we're live. So just want to introduce everybody. Hi, I'm Dustin Coiner from TrackDaz here in Southern California, and tonight I'm with the CRA new racer instructor dude, Lyle Jeffrey Brown. What's up, Jeff?
What's up, everybody?
Wow, he's so quiet. Yeah, so you know what? You and I, we kind of go pretty far back, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like 20 and change.
Yeah, we should keep that a secret.
Yeah, so let's talk about a little bit about, you know, you're going to be the new racer school instructor or new racer. You have another name for it, but we'll talk about
we
that.
We call it orientation, just so everybody in the audience knows. We are not trying to come at anybody trying to teach them how to ride motorcycles. We're assuming when you come to the program, you got your chops already in order.
I rolled the sleeves here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's talk about a little bit about your background. Like you know, we kind of came up club racing together when we all first started racing like over 20 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Like I can remember borrowing your bikes and vice versa, and you know, all that stupid novice racer stuff.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, man. I think it goes back to, I think I remember the track day, to be honest with you. I think it was Button Willow, and I think it was like 2001, if I remember correctly. I had my Bumblebee Suzuki 750. Was it 2000? Oh, 2000. My bad. So I had my Bumblebee 2000 GSXR 750 at the time, was the baddest bike in the world, but we know that Yamaha has since become the king. But at that time, Suzuki 750 was an awesome bike, and Dustin and I just met. So I said, you know what, Dustin's a cool guy. He can ride. I let him ride the Gixxer 750. And I think, what, a year later you had one?
I had one like a couple of months later.
Yeah, so definitely was an easy sell, but a great track day. I remember doing the sweeper, actually Riverside, which is one of the faster corners. And I remember having a video camera that looked like an old school VHS duct taped to the tank trying to get footage.
Yes.
And I was real proud of the 78 miles an hour that I was doing in Riverside.
Yeah. But you know, eventually we both ended up going racing, and you know, you were racing AFM and CCS, right?
Yeah, I did AFM, CCS. I did pretty much all of them, so I got an opportunity to work with some of the great.
You didn't do that one.
I did not do WSMC.
You're a little bit scared of the 9 turns.
Yeah, right. I think for WSMC, it was just at the time I lived in Monterey, and the drive was just really, really long, and it just, and everything was at Willow Springs, right? So you really had to kind of be committed to going to Willow Springs all the time. And what I liked about some of the other ones were just really from a proximity perspective, they were closer, so it was cool. And I really, really enjoy, this is what I really enjoy about what we're doing with CRA and some of the other racing organizations has done. You pick a track, you race at that track, you can change the direction if you want to add a little bit of diversity, but it's just at one track. It makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, well, the button willow thing is cool because we can mess around with configuration, and they also have that new track coming, right? So
yeah, real excited about that. Really excited about that. Actually, what I'm really excited about, to be honest with you, is our first new racers orientation. So just so you know, I changed that name to orientation. It used to be New Racers School, but we didn't want anybody to misinterpret this with a school in riding. We know when you come racing that you come to mini track days. We know that you are confident in your skills. So it's definitely not a skills thing. It's more about letting you know what goes into racing, using our experience to make the racing experience easy for you so you can bridge from doing a track day to a race day, which is very, very different. So anybody who's raced a motorcycle can definitely attest. You have to really be on your game. Time frames are shorter, things are happening faster, and you want to make sure that those things that are happening at a rapid pace never impact your riding.
So, what's the main difference that you think that people are going to see, or what should a new racer student expect to to learn from this kind of day?
Well, we focus on the deltas. We focus on what is different from a track day as opposed to a race day. Because one, we don't want to inundate you with too much information because there is a lot of information, to be honest. So we really want to stay focused on the things that you can retain. So we focus and we make the assumption that you've been to enough track days where you know the general rules of a track day, how we communicate. And then we take those deltas, we have different flags in when you're racing. We have different procedures when certain flags are waved in racing, which we'll put a lot of focus on. We also put a lot of focus on a typical race day. We put focus on how to prep your motorcycle, which is very, very different than how you would prep your motorcycle for a track day. And really the objective of the class is to make sure that you feel comfortable when you go to your first race. You don't feel like a deer in the headlights, like you don't know all the rules. And another thing that we're going to be doing, and this is sort of a Dustin add to the value of his new racer orientation, is I'll always be there. I'll be there on race weekends. So not only am I going to be there with you in the classroom, but I'll be walking around and checking on people that took the class to make sure that you still feel comfortable and help you out if there's something that's not going your way. So we'll stay with you guys.
Yeah, I mean, it is February and we're not racing till summer, right?
Exactly.
So, it'll be cool to have a guy that a new racer get their competition license and have somebody kind of help steer them in the right direction even after they pass the class when they make the race weekend the first time. I think that's
exactly.
That's a really great idea, I think, and I don't want to take credit for that.
You should.
A partner, my partner in the CRA, Daniel Mole, was the one kind of came up with that idea. I think it's a good idea, honestly, but given that we have several months before we're racing yet, I think it's pretty cool that we were able to sell out this new racer thing on a Monday in February.
Very excited, very excited. And we appreciate you guys for that.
Yeah, I mean, it just kind of reaffirms like our decision to even try this, I mean, doing all this stuff is it's always a risk, right? But we just sent it anyway and hope the best, right? And I mean, you could see we've done a bunch of work with the rule book and the new racer or the orientation packet or whatever. So I think that's pretty great. But going back to your flag stuff, I mean, like that stuff is really important. I mean, I can remember way back, I'm one of those weirdos that had the Danny Farnsworth new racer school at Willow in the late 90s, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I will never forget this moment because like it's basically stayed with me ever since then. But I reacted to a certain flag the wrong way on Sunday morning after the new racer school on Saturday there. And myself and a couple of other racers did the same exact thing, and we all ended up getting the fancy one-way conversation at Danny's van on pre-grid. So that kind of stuff is pretty impactful to me, and I think part of the reason why I reacted to it the wrong way, it was number one, I was super nervous and kind of scared, right? But then also there was so much information. It was just like, fuck, what's next? So
and we've had some unfair advantages. I think one of the unfair advantages that CRA has had is CRA is comprised of several people that have raced in every single organization. So we've been able to take those organizations, take what they've done well, take the pleasant experiences that we can remember and make sure that we incorporate that into the CRA program, and also be able to kind of cherry pick and omit what we felt maybe was a little bit much. And the one thing that we did learn with the new racer orientation, one of our main objectives is to cut down on the data, right? We want to make sure that the data that we do give you is the important data. It's data that you keep, because my objective is everyone that graduates from the NRO feels really, really comfortable racing CRA. They feel very, very aware of the rules. They know what's important. And, no matter what, the rule book is a large rule book. There's no way that you're going to know that entire rule book. That's basically toilet bowl reading that you got to do on your own. But the reality is you're going to know what's important to have a good
Well,
day.
you know what? Talking to a few racers, obviously we the club did a provisional launch of the rule book because we wanted to get rider feedback, because I've been telling people from the jump that this is a racer centric club, right? So having a provisional rule book out, that the racers themselves, I mean, we've gotten a lot of good feedback from a lot of racers from all over the state. And we're going to take that feedback and make minor adjustments as needed to the rule book before we launch the official rule book. And I think that kind of thing, it lends itself to that rider centric nature. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I'm very excited about CRA. I think just the fact that how we went about it, how we came at it with a humble approach, really wanting to be, a summation of all best practices is really cool.
So talking some more about your background, what's your day job? What do you do for a living?
I work for a telephony software company. So I work in IT. I'm also a database administrator, but
Yeah,
that's the geeky side of my life, right?
you're a smart guy.
At least I'd like to think I am. Yeah. Yeah.
What some people might not know is that you also have some little side hustles that you do that are real, that you're also super good at, right? You're a drummer in
Yeah.
you're a drummer in multiple bands and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like what kind of music are you doing?
Well, I play this weekend before our track day. I have a gig with my 80s rock band. So we'll be playing Thin Lizzy, Def Leppard, Led Zeppelin, all that kind of stuff. So if anybody's in the mood for some rock and they want to be by the coast, we'll be in Encinitas over at the Crake and kicking off some 80s rock. So all of your favorite White Snake, all that stuff. If you want to hear that and you want to see a black dude playing White Snake, this is probably your only chance. Come check it out.
I knew you were going to go there. So you're also, you do a lot of stand-up too, right?
Yeah, stand-up comedy, yeah. And
so
a lot of my
basically just letting everybody know that you're one of those like Renaissance men that are like good at everything, and basically we all should hate you, right?
I think everybody's good at everything they want to be honest with you, man. It's all in the mind, right? And I think that's why we're going to turn out so many great racers in the NRL school, and I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, this is really an opportunity that I think is kind of, really kind of bridges the gap of some things that you and I have been trying to do historically, and to be able to have an NRL school and have Dustin be able to implement everything that he's learned. Because I think, Dustin, you're actually the longest track day promoter in business, aren't you?
I mean,
is there anybody older than us?
I don't know. I mean, Fast Track, I think, is a little bit older than us, but they've changed owners like 4 times or something.
Okay.
In that time. I think that's about it. I mean,
yeah,
it's really funny. A lot of the long-standing orgs, even their owners they all started out as customers of ours like a million years ago.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Yeah, man. I mean, it's definitely track days. I mean, I've worked a lot, and your spot is definitely top notch.
So on the race weekends, you're gonna not only do the orientation thing on Friday, you're also going to be the club's announcer. Yeah.
It's kind of cool because you get to go ahead. I'm listening.
What's your, like, we talked a little bit about this, but like, what's your master plan to kind of get to know these guys? I mean, I was talking to Jared Fixler from Motorsport Exotica, and one of the things that he was always bugged about was the announcer guy, like, sorry, Stu, messing up the name of his shop.
Oh, that's funny.
So,
well, I think for me, it's got to be personal, right? In order for there to be any type of humorous element to being a race announcer, which being a race announcer is new to me, not comedy's not. But obviously, we want to be tactful the way we apply anything that's humorous to race announcing, because there is a serious cool thing. I love watching Greg White. I love watching Jason Pridmore. These guys. Here's Jason Pridmore, who's a racer who bridged the gap, is now just an awesome announcer for Moto America. So you really want to know the guys. You want to know a little bit about their history. So to your question, it's all about really just staying in the grid. So being a race announcer doesn't mean grab a microphone, look at a few numbers, and you really should know who number 23 is. You should know a little bit of background about that person. You should know a little bit about their journey in racing. That will take time, but I will definitely be working on that. I think really, hopefully, what I really want to get to ideally is being really versed on everybody, knowing everybody personally. That way you can add the personal element when you're doing the race announcement.
I think at the track day Monday, I'm going to introduce you to some of those guys, but I mean, it's just going to take time.
Yep,
right? I mean,
absolutely.
The cool thing is that you're actually in a tower, so you can see what's happening.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that'll kind of help you call the race too.
Yes.
Like I was at the Buttonwillow test last week helping Stan Boley with the timing equipment. And I was in the tower. I was like, "Oh my God, you could see the whole track up here!"
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
This is the best place to watch.
No, the tower is awesome at Buttonwillow.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool with that stuff. So I don't know about whether Tony and Eric from the Bagger series, if they have any new racers coming to us, but I know they've got a bunch of those guys. I just what do you think of having a couple of Bagger Harley dudes in the new racer thing?
Yeah, that's material, period. It's a lot of material. It's good material. I mean, my goodness, man, hats off to anybody who takes a bagger and puts it on the track. I mean, that's the real man right there, right? That's where the real men are. I mean, that's insane.
Yeah, I mean, Tony and those guys, they're just like with the ape hangers and they're
oh my goodness, that is just hilarious. And it's kind of cool to see people like, Frankie Garcia, Bostrom jumping on a bagger. I feel like I really missed out at that Buttonwillow, that Moto America race at Laguna Seca. So I'm actually looking forward to us doing it and replicating that at Buttonwillow and CRA.
Yeah, it's Frankie actually. It's funny you mentioned him. Frankie said he was going to bring his bagger out to race.
Wow. Yeah, that's going to be awesome, dude.
Those other guys, Eric and Tony, better watch out.
Yeah, man. Holy cow, man. They had
right.
They had a who's who on that, didn't they? I mean, I know I mentioned Bostrom and Frankie Garcia, but I remember there was a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty cool. I mean, those guys, those bagger things were going stupid fast at Laguna, man.
What lap times were they doing? Do you know offhand?
I think they were in the 38s.
Wow. Bagger.
I'm like, dude, I don't even know if I could do a 38 there.
Gee whiz, on a bagger. That's insane. Who ended up winning that race, by the way?
I don't remember. Honestly. It was cool to watch though.
Yeah.
I might have been Taylor Knapp. I'm not sure. I can't remember.
Okay.
But, I mean, they were ripping. I mean, they were absolutely ripping. And there was no fans allowed, but somehow Laguna allowed camping.
Okay.
So there was a whole bunch of people there on the corkscrew watching the race.
Wow. Okay.
To watch the race.
Yeah.
So, it was pretty fun. It's I guess they're going to do like 5 rounds of that. So it's pretty cool that CRA is going to have a class for those guys.
Yeah. Yep.
So another thing about CRA is we're getting some pretty good sponsors for the club. I talked to one of them. I actually talked to Cy about this tonight's show, and I got permission to talk about it. We haven't announced anything or whatever, but dude, the Riders Law guy is throwing down some serious money towards our premier race.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like $1,000 to win kind of thing.
Wow. Wow. Is that
I'm
Alex?
not sure how far down we're going to pay. We haven't sorted that out yet, but we've pretty much come to the conclusion that money is going to go $1,000 to win that.
Wow. Now, is Riders Law still Alex?
No, it's Cy.
Okay, Cy. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Well, thank you, Cy.
Yeah, the Riders Law guy. So it's going to be the Riders Law Gold Cup. So, and we also have some class sponsors for some other people too. Azad Wheels.
Wow.
Car Wheels, like they got some pretty good amount of money going towards the 400 classes. And then you remember Maria from the insurance agent up near Monterey?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, she's got some serious money towards the ladies class.
Wow, that's awesome.
So, I mean, we're kind of trickling in some legitimate class sponsored money for people to race for. And we, honestly, it's so weird because we haven't even really started trying yet.
Yeah. Well, that's a lot of you and Gigi. That's you and Gigi right there. Hats off to you guys, the hustlers in the group. Just the hustlers. You don't be modest.
I'm busy doing the rule book. Like, dude. Yeah. So, let's see here. Yeah. So that's pretty much the highlights of the new racer thing. Again, like I think it's pretty impressive that the first one in February on a Monday sold out, and I've actually got a waiting list for it too. I mean, there's a few people that want to get in or change their entry to join it.
Wow.
Like, there's another one in a month.
Yeah. We'll make sure they have enough schools to get ready. So, I mean, you're Dustin. Dustin will make sure, don't worry out there. If he finds that you can't race because we don't have enough schools, he will make another school happen. Yeah. Or orientation, rather.
My goal was to kind of backfill and have a bunch of amateurs licensed, ready to go before we get going. But so who do you think should do the new racer program? Like who's our target audience, you think?
Yeah, man, that's a good question. I would never want to deter anybody from racing, but I would want to say this from being an experienced racer as Dustin is, and a lot of people are, and a lot of people can always give you feedback. It's better to be more prepared than underprepared. So my message to everybody that joins NRO, make sure you've done, a specific number of track days, not necessarily 10, 15 or whatever, but enough track days where you feel comfortable and you feel like, racing is for you. And then you also have to be really comfortable with close proximity. A lot of people, we've had people that have come to NRO, they go out to an A group session, they get passed real close and they come in and they ask me, hey, I was passed really close. It's like, that's what racing is, dude. So if you feel uncomfortable in those environments, it's okay to, maybe try it next year and make sure that you're comfortable, right? Because you want to be safe to yourself and to others.
One of the feedback items I get from a lot of riders is that, they don't feel like they have whatever magic part, or they don't feel that their lap time is, they're really a lot of new racers or potential new racers are worried about their lap times. What do you say to that?
Lap times will come. I mean, your lap times aren't going to be good at first. I know that when I first started racing at Button Willow, I was doing 203s or something ridiculous like that. And, once I got in a race, I mean, I was immediately down to like 157. I thought 203 was my ceiling. As soon as I got in a race, was at the adrenaline, had other people going faster, immediately I was at a one. So the lap times will come, especially when you're in the race environment, you will go faster. But I wouldn't really worry about lap times too much because I think that, that takes away from your attention of riding. I would just worry about being smooth. If there's anything that Doug Chandler taught me, one of my favorite guys that I've ever worked with is Doug Chandler. And he didn't say much. He just said, just be smooth. That's it. I mean, people are going to have all kinds of advice on how you should hang off the bike, how you should be in braking, but smooth is smooth. And, so if you need one operative word to keep in your mind when you're racing, I would just say be smooth.
All right. So you don't have to be fast to start racing?
No, not really. I mean, that's why we have classes. That's why we have different levels of racing, because we want everybody to have fun. We don't want to limit racing just to the fastest guys, or else we kind of like miss the mark, right? The whole idea of racing, it's club racing, right? And when you say club racing, it's a club of people that are racing. And when we have this club, we specifically handle the segregation of groups so everybody can do it. The idea is not to limit people and omit people. Now, there is lines, right? So if you come to my NRO school and you're doing a 3-minute lap time, I might very gently tell you, let's try that again next year, right? And it's not to offend you. It's to make sure that you're safe, because 3-minute lap time probably is not going to work, right? and we're going to end up making other people angry. But if you're anywhere within a comparable lap time, we can always put you in the right group. You're going to start off as a novice anyway. You're going to be racing with other people that are new, and you're going to have to earn your right to go to the other classes. But at least during the time in the interim, you can still race.
So you don't have to expect to be in contention for the win to do new racer orientation.
Well, find me somebody that's in contention to the win that just started racing, and I'll give you $1 for every guy that you find, because you're not going to find that, right? First of all, one of the things that I will tell people in my new RO school is embrace the suck. Embrace the suck, right? Because you are going to suck.
Dude, I don't even want to call it suck. I mean, the reality is club racing is supposed to be fun, right?
It is supposed to be fun.
What a lot of racers forget is that it's supposed to be fun. And the moment it stops being fun is the moment the racer attrition comes in and those people quit, right?
But to your point, I agree with you. But to your point, I don't think people can really enjoy racing if they come in there with a false expectation, right? When I walked into racing and I said, look, man, these guys are way faster than me. If I can just be out of the bottom 3, and I did that, I felt really, really good. So it was something that was attainable, right? You're setting yourself smart goals that are not so far-fetched that you end up putting yourself in harm's way trying to achieve them prematurely, because they will come. So even though I had the term embrace the suck earlier, that's really more of a self-preservation thing. But I'll tell you what, if you continue to do it, you're going to get better, you're going to get faster, and you're going to move up. But as long as you're okay when you first go in there saying, hey, maybe just finishing is okay for right now, that's where the longevity comes in.
The cool thing is that the club has qualifying for grid position, right?
Right.
So, when you're first starting out, no matter where you are in that realm of lap time for qualifying, chances are there's going to be somebody that's in that same realm. So you're going to have somebody to race with, regardless of if you're at the pointy end or if you're in the middle or in the back of the lap time, right?
Exactly.
And being gridded based on where your qualifying position is rather than points and time of entry, it allows the race start to be a little bit safer, right?
Yeah. And there's a lot of racing organizations that don't do that, right? There's a lot of racing organizations that base the grid on how often you show up to race, which, is another one of those things that we have found, being humble, that works better and is safer for the riders, right? We want the guys that are faster to be gone. Go do what you do, right? And we want the guys that are in the middle of the pack and do what you do. But we also want you to have somebody to race with.
Yeah.
Lord knows, that's what made it fun for me, is just having maybe those 2 or 3 guys within my racing group that were all in the same speeds, and we were all going back and forth. We had our own race.
Yeah, we're stabbing each other in the neck to finish 12th.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what? That was first to us, right? Because it's all relative, right? I am basically only competing against those that I feel that are in my category, right? You're not going to compete against a Josh Heron or a Doug Chandler.
You're in that class, right?
What's that?
You will compete against him if you're in that class.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
But you'll also just, let him go and wish him the best of luck.
Yeah. Glad I got to see you on the start.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, another thing is that I think we've got it pretty well covered to where just about everybody's got a couple of classes to race on Sunday, as well as those longer races on Saturday. What do you think about those GT races?
I think they're awesome races. I think there's just so many different levels of motorcycle fitness, right? There's one to do a sprint race, but it takes a lot out of you. I don't think people realize how much it takes out of you to race a motorcycle for 6 to 8 laps, much less 20 plus laps.
Right.
But what I like about the GT races is it's a way that we bridge the gap between club racing at the regional level and national racing, right? Because if you go to national racing, you're going to be racing those longer races. So now you have an opportunity not only to get better at the club racing at the regional level, but you also have an opportunity to feel what it feels like to be in a Moto America race, and I like that. I love the GT races, but I would say this, they are tiring.
Yeah.
So if you see what Dustin's got behind him, you might want to jump on one of those every once in a while and make sure you get a couple miles in if you want to do that GT race.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you're on a 600 or a 1000, you'll have a 20 lap GT on Saturday. And if you're on a 400 or an ultra lightweight bike or a twin, you get 16 laps.
Nice.
So I mean, Jared at Motorsport Exotica was telling me some pretty colorful commentary about his thoughts on the 400 race for 16 laps.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, yeah.
Okay, all right. You can't talk about those thoughts.
Yeah. I mean, they're slower, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, with the fast people on like an R3, I don't even know what their lap times are, right? I mean, not everybody's Rocco, right?
Right.
So I'm like, okay, man, like how long will it take to do a 16 lap race if you're on a 400 or or like an SV or an MT-07?
Exactly.
So that's
why. Let me ask you a question. How are we handling licenses from other organizations? Are we making them go to NRO, or are we honoring all those licenses?
You know what? If you got a license with another org, I mean, we let you come do the reciprocity thing, FOC, man.
Okay, nice.
Like you've already, Tony Baker told me this out of MRA in Colorado a few years ago, but he was like, you've already pledged allegiance to one flag. We're not going to make you swear to our flag. You just take your money for entries and call it good.
Awesome.
Right.
Awesome. Good stuff.
So, that attitude is a super positive one to have, because it welcomes those other club members. If it's an off weekend or something, they can come race with us, and all they got to do is show us their license and pay the entry fee, right?
Awesome. Okay. Now, how does that work with numbers?
Well, that's a good question. I think they could probably either run as, I mean, AFM, when I raced with them, I always run number 37, and they would assign me like 137, but let me run as 37.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So, we could probably do something like that.
Okay. Good to know.
I mean, because like putting an X on your number, I don't know. It just it ruins their bike pictures, man.
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So, I think really I leave that up to the race director on that, but I'm pretty sure we can do the run as, I mean, we don't have a top 10 plate in the club, but we've already discussed, like, let's say somebody like Josh, he runs the number 2 in the nationals, right?
Right.
Are we going to make him run some zip code number?
Right.
Comes and brings a R3 out to race with us? No.
Right.
We'll, so we'll probably assign some rando number to him and let him run as number 2.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, it seems fair.
It does.
I mean, it's supposed to be fun, like we said, right?
Right.
So, with the new racer school or orientation, it's going to take some getting used to game change, because it's been new. We called it new racer school for like 20 years.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
The biggest thing with this school is I just want it to be, I want all the info to get across.
Yeah.
That it needs to be, but I think if we could somehow capture that that moment where the racer gets sucked in and forever remembers the stuff that their instructor told them.
Right.
I mean, Daniel, one of the partners with CRA, Daniel and I have talked about this at length, about how racers that raced in WSMC from that era, that WSMC had such an impact on the sport that the sport is still feeling those effects today. And, like, I mean, every one of us that went through that program has a Danny Farnsworth-ism still,
Right.
and the dude hasn't been, I mean, he's passed on a few years ago, but I mean, he wasn't involved in WSMC since like the end of '04. Right?
Wow.
So
Wow.
like the fact that there's still racers going around that are still active that took that dude's class, like that kind of tells you the impact he made on us, right?
Right.
And so
Yep.
that's you're in that driver's seat now. Like you got the wheel to the bus.
Yeah,
So,
no, and I take that responsibility seriously, right? You want to
yeah.
make sure that if they're talking about me and I'm gone, they're positive experiences, right? So I want to make sure more than anything that the experience that each one of the new racers experience is positive. There's things that I felt when I went through my own new racer school that I do not want our folks to feel. I do not want them to feel intimidated. I do not want them to feel afraid to make a mistake. I want them to feel that, they're supported and they can ask a question and they won't be looked down upon for not remembering something. I really want that, because I do remember me feeling scared to ask a question, scared to be thought that I would be a fool if I asked a question. I should have known that because I graduated school from that school and it should have been enough. Feeling scared when a flag is waved, like you felt, going, oh God, I hope I do the right thing and I don't confuse that what I should have done in the track day with what I should do in a race day. I just want to make sure that they feel comfortable. And that's why we really are doing the best that we can to segregate the material. So it's only the deltas that are different.
So at the end of the day, I guess we're going to grid these guys up to a new racer race, right?
Yes. Yep.
So how's that going to go?
That's going to go really well. That's something that we got from Stu, who is an awesome racer school instructor. And I'm filling big shoes by doing what Stu did, because Stu has got just the experience that Stu brings to the table, especially specifically from motorcycling, is in depth. But yeah, I mean, we're going to have a mock race. The mock race is a great example of what it would feel like. And that's really the purpose of the mock race, to give you a sense of what it's like during race day. Obviously, there'll be some components that won't be present, but at least you'll feel what it's like to grid. You'll feel what it's like to know what your grid position is and the importance of a grid position. You'll feel what it's like to do a racer start. You'll feel what it's like to go into turn one and everybody's going in at the same time, how to navigate through turn one. And also, really more importantly, how to finish the race upright.
Right. Yeah, that goes into my next question. Like I don't really want to talk about this, but it happens. Like what things will lead to somebody not passing the class?
Well, there's quite a few things, and it's a good question. Number one, not being punctual, not being at the class, not taking it seriously, not respecting the time of others when they show up for the class. The other thing that will get you out is if it's probably not a good time for you to race. And I hate to be the one to even be in the position to do this, but unfortunately I have to look at the safety of everyone else as well as yourself if you're the one that's being called out and said, hey, maybe another time. But we're going to be going around that track day while you guys are in A group. And if you look like you're unsafe in A group, then we're going to have that conversation that I dread. And I really hope I never have to have, that says, hey, this is probably not a good time for you to race. That will be one way. Another way of getting out is crashing in the mock race. You can't crash. And I like the fact that crashing in the mock race is a contingency, because you should be able to finish a race upright if you're focused, right? We know that.
Oh, let me back up just a little bit. If they crash during the day, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you crash during the day, that's it, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Enjoy the rest of your track day if you can put your bike back together, but school's done, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it's, if you can't if you can't finish a day without falling down, like, should you really be?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So in those instances, like what happens? I mean, what, like, do they come back and take the school? Like what's the procedure for that?
Well, if they feel that they still want to be a racer and they come back and they sign up again, unfortunately you would have to sign up again for another NRO school. There is no credit, that's why it's very important that you know what the rules are to pass the class. So you're not one of those people that's in the position where you have to pay for it again. But unfortunately, that's the reality, just to set the expectation. And really, that's it. Obviously, if you were asked not to come back because you were too slow for whatever reason, then obviously the contingency would be to go to a few more track days, maybe grab Dustin, maybe grab some of his staff, have them work on your lap times a little bit, work on your riding skills and help you out.
Go to a school, maybe.
Go to school, yeah, go to champ school or whatever. But I mean, I think your staff, Dustin, is really good about working with people and tapping the back of their seat. And you can always go to pre-grid at a track day and you can ask for anyone. There's varying levels of people that work for track days. So we can always find someone that's more than competent to help you out.
That's all true, man. That's all true.
Yeah.
So, okay. So at the end of the school or orientation.
Thank you, Dustin.
It's gonna be weird.
Thank you. I know.
Dude, you jacked up my whole stickers. So you complete the school. What's the last thing that we get before we give them before the end of the day or before they send them home?
Well, I mean, ideally, you go get your license because we're going to make it available to you the day of NRO. So if you feel like you've completed the class and you like what you saw and you like the experience, that's the perfect opportunity for you to actually pick up your racing license.
Yeah. So you pass the class. You're going to give them the graduates
right.
certificate.
Correct.
Right.
Right.
And then literally in the classroom, we'll just have the registration laptop up and we take your entry right there.
Right there.
Everybody that passes the school and gets their license, they automatically get all the CRA stuff that we have included in the license, the t-shirt, the stickers. If we have hats, we'll do the hats too. I don't know if we'll have hats in time. Everything takes forever because COVID, right?
Yeah.
So, but I do have all the shirts. So
shirts are nice, by the way.
Yeah,
really nice shirts.
Cool. I mean, this shirt's like one of Gary Schechner's motorcycle gauges.
Oh, nice
art shirts.
Okay.
Yeah, I think his website's like RPM Abstract or something. But yeah, so you can, the shirts look cool. And this isn't the last. That's not the last CRA shirt. There's going to be more. I mean, I think there's another one coming that has the class sponsors on it too. So
okay,
like everybody that gets a license eventually will get that one. But for now, we got the big CRA shirt. Right. And then are you gonna do a group photo with the students?
Yeah, that's one of those experiences that you never want to lose. So I know that, like you were talking about Danny's Farnsworth, and I'm sure that you would have loved to have something with that experience. Did you get a picture with Danny Farnsworth when you took the class?
I did, man.
Dude,
this is back when this is back before we got our licenses, before they were doing digital photos.
Well, they still had the Polaroid one step. Did you have the Polaroid one step?
When we started racing, there was that dude that would take photos and he would give you like a little kaleidoscope keychain to look
yeah, that's hilarious, dude.
You remember that guy, right?
I do.
Yeah. So obviously everything's come a long way since then. And I'm sure the Cali photography dude will love to shoot you guys. Hopefully maybe shoot the race start too. That'd be kind of
cool. Exactly. Well, I think we're going to connect with him anyway, because we'll be there on Sunday. We'll make sure that we have sort of a standard operating procedure for pictures, because we always want to be able to give our NRO students the opportunity to have that picture that will last a lifetime, because this is their first experience that you and I were talking about earlier that we had, right?
Yeah. So, we'll just talk about it. We're not going to race until June.
Right.
We haven't really, I think the club hasn't really released this yet, because we were kind of hoping that the news of this would change. But, looks like our original round 1 in May on the new racetrack got delayed due to construction stuff. Doesn't have anything to do with us, right? But so it looks like our original round 2 will become round 1.
Okay.
So,
okay.
It is what it is, right?
Well, there was a lot of that went into this. So, I mean, the
Yeah.
fact that we only really experienced one delay, considering that this was a pipe dream a year ago, it's
Hopefully.
good execution. Yeah. We'll remain positive on that one. I think
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, you know, we put a lot of work behind the scenes, and, you know, having that extra round, you know, having that round later gives us a little bit more time to dial everything in. But I mean, we're pretty close already.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, we should actually have the licensing available online pretty soon.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, interesting concept. You know, you don't have to mail in your forms and, you know, or fax them, right? There's still people
Yeah.
doing that.
Dude.
You could, when the licensing gets online, you could publish all your forms and everything right there on the website. So
Hmm.
it's pretty neat. Um,
No, it's awesome. I mean, when the people actually experience the IT evolution, they will enjoy it because I know
2011.
I know. No, you still took it. You still took it a couple steps further. I think the fact that you can, that you're going to make it where they can put their numbers and all of the three, suggestions that they have for numbers, doing waivers online. That is just
Right.
that's awesome. Awesome.
I mean, we're just trying to make it easy, man, because it
Yeah,
should be fun. You know, I
it
kind of,
does.
you know, when we worked with that other club and helped start that one. I mean, one of the biggest things is we had this gigantic barbecue thing in the pits, and like everybody, there was a lot of times where there'd be like 75 people in our pit on Saturday night. And,
Yeah,
you know, I kind of want to recapture that, because, you know, that's something that you go to some other clubs, man, and it's like 5 o'clock, carpets rolled up, everything's locked down, and it's like crickets. You
I
know,
think we got. I think we got a couple surprises for the CRA, huh? That we probably are not going to unveil just
we're
yet, right?
not gonna unveil that stuff.
Okay, yeah,
They're
we're.
teaser.
I think
Your
we're already taking it.
what,
I think we're already taking it to the next level for the
dude?
Saturday nights at
Yeah,
CRA.
the surprises they're gonna be super welcome, I'm sure, and
Yep.
you know, I'm sure everybody will love to participate in some of that stuff.
Yeah.
Some of that stuff, maybe not
Yep.
all of it.
Yep.
Yeah. So, all right, Jeff. Well, you know what? Good chatting with you, man.
Thank you, brother.
I'm excited, and you know, I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes. And you know, I guess I'll help you with the school. I've got that R1 back outside in the garage, so
Okay.
and it kind
Yeah.
of runs. So,
Okay. All
um,
right.
so you know, like if you need me to help out with the school or the
Absolutely.
station,
Yeah.
you know, I gladly help you out with that.
Okay.
Um, I'm excited about it though, man. Like a bunch of new guys coming out and going racing, like that is the best
Yeah.
thing ever.
I'm
And the
super
fact that
excited.
maybe, you know, maybe Tony and Eric will have some bagger dudes in the class, like I
Yeah.
would be kind of neat.
Yep.
You know, I know they had 3 or 4 at the other club last week, so I mean they got a bunch of people joining that thing. Like it's like the new thing.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like it's like we should call Yamaha and see if we can build a Yamaha bagger.
Oh, dude, we got to be on that, dude. We got to be on that. Go. What was it? What was it V Star that they had? The V Star that was kind of the closest thing to a bagger. Was it a
Dude,
V
I have
Star?
no idea about that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
Yep.
giant thing with, yeah, there's something Yamaha makes that would fit that, I think.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, it has a drive shaft probably, right?
Yep.
So that'd be kind of neat. And you know, like I said before, I mean, I think Heron's talking about coming out on a R3.
I am going to look forward to watching Josh on an R3.
Yeah, yeah, I think that'll be fun. You
They
know,
should probably just duct tape the accelerator just wide open for Josh. I don't even think he really even needs. You could take the brakes off the bike probably. Seriously, just take the brakes off. That way it freewheels. All he really needs is the motor, the chain drive, and he's good. He doesn't need brakes.
I mean, it is
You
a,
know,
yeah. I mean,
he doesn't need to deaccelerate. I've watched Josh Herring go into turn 3, so I know he doesn't need to deaccelerate. He can pretty much do every turn at Button Willow at 95, and I think that's the top speed.
of the R3.
Yeah. So I think he's good.
No pressure.
Yeah. No pressure.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see who comes out. I mean, I talked to some people. They're talking about coming from all kinds of areas that didn't really want to go out there. So because it's far. I mean,
Yeah,
some of
yeah.
some of those guys. I talked to a guy today, dude. He drove 12 hours to go out there.
Wow.
Bro, that's like us going to Miller,
Gee whiz,
Colorado.
12 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. And is that on the Monday that he's coming out, or is he you
No,
talking about the
this guy actually hurt himself out there.
okay, okay.
But yeah, so I mean that's a lot of people complain about 2 or 3 hours, but dude, 12 hours, that's a whole
Yeah, that's a whole nother shebang right there.
that'd be like us going to race in Utah.
No,
We
12
should.
hours.
I think
Yeah, we should.
we
But
should.
what I'm gonna do is somebody's gonna take my bike and I'm flying in. That's where
Yeah.
I come
Like
from.
I think to do something like that, I think I'd rather go to race at the Ridge in
Right.
Washington.
Yeah.
Maybe we scumbag Jimmy to all this stuff and then we just fly into
Just fly in, dude. Holy cow. Wouldn't that be cool? Man, that's the
yeah.
way to do it. Yep.
Yeah, so there's some of that going on. I mean, a few of us a few years ago went and raced in Colorado. That was pretty neat. Um, that High Plains Raceway, and that
Mm,
the whole vibe. I remember when I raced at MRA like 10 years ago in Colorado. Like the vibe there, I wanted to steal that vibe and
yeah.
here, and because it was like everybody was just there hanging out, camping. Oh, and by
Right.
the way, we're racing during the day,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
That's good stuff. Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
that, dude, that vibe is so good, and we had that for a little bit out there, but it happens, right?
We're gonna build it for CRA,
Yeah.
brother.
So I'm pretty stoked on that.
Me too.
All right, Jeff. Well, you know what? It's been a good shot. I
All
think
right, D.
I think we're good. Yeah.
All right, man.
All right. See you Sunday to set up
Yeah.
a new racer grid.
All right, brother. I'll see you there.
All right.